Students say both districts are doing surprisingly well if you compare their numbers to the community as a whole. Between the two districts, you're looking at roughly 16,000 students. Total official COVID-19 positives between students and staff of both districts combined, a little more than 300.
CDC Director Robert Redfield again said schools should be open for in-person learning because evidence shows that they aren't a major source of transmission.
How true is that? Is COVID really not spreading in schools? Until now, we've not been able to get a clear picture of what's happening inside the Cedar Valley Metro school districts. Through the Freedom of Information Act, we now know just how many cases the Waterloo and Cedar Falls school districts have reported. Officially, for a district of nearly 11,000, Waterloo Schools reports 251 positive student and staff cases since the beginning of the school year in late August through mid-November. For Cedar Falls, at about 5,400 students, that number stands at 65 for the same period.
We're still holding true to our efforts and wanting to make sure we continue a lot of mitigation strategies that we've used from the beginning.
I sat down with Waterloo Schools Human Resources Officer Kingsley Botchway to talk numbers.
Has this gone better than you guys had planned, or about, the best possible scenario?
Definitely, and a huge amount of credit goes to our staff.
The schools have worked closely with the county's health department, especially when it came to extending Thanksgiving break.
So hopefully those additional days will help if somebody has been exposed to COVID, but maybe perhaps the symptoms will start occurring and they would stay home.
Since the beginning of the pandemic, Waterloo Schools has spent more than $2 million in keeping COVID-19 out of the classroom. And while that's mostly worked, it hasn't entirely prevented problems. You may remember Hoover Middle School had to shift fully online as staff absences increased during the height of the county's COVID spike.
We could not cover one particular grade level. We had one grade level that has seen a significant number of absences, and just to make sure that our one grade level could teach their students, but also make sure they're supporting the other grade level, we had to move to virtual.
Botchway says at the worst, there was a 3.5% positivity rate among staff. That at the same time, Black Hawk County as a whole was experiencing a rate of more than 20%.
Because of a lot of the mitigation efforts that we put in, our staff and students are sometimes safer in our environments in comparison to just being out in the community.
For Waterloo Schools, they've had as many as 25 students out for COVID-19, whether that be positive or just exposed, and as many as 50 staff members at once. Collin Dorsey, News 7, KWWL.